Welcome to another wild tale from the heart of the Low Country, where palmetto shadows hide secrets that shatter lives. In Charleston, South Carolina, Captain Nathan Reynolds, a Navy intelligence officer codenamed Spectre, thought he had it all: a loving wife, Elise, and 2 kids, Sophie and Lucas. But when whispers of betrayal surfaced, Nathan uncovered a chilling truth. Elise was entangled with a Russian operative, Victor Kane, in a scandal that rocked the Navy and their sleepy southern town. From covert stakeouts to a high-stakes trial, Nathan fought to protect his family while Sophie and Lucas faced the fallout of their mother's choices. Will Nathan rebuild from the ashes of deceit? Can Sophie and Lucas find their way through the gossip and pain? Buckle up for a saga of loyalty, heartbreak, and redemption that'll keep you hooked till the end. The oppressive Charleston night pressed against the salt-streaked windows of Captain Nathan Reynolds' office at Naval Weapons Station Charleston, where the flicker of his laptop illuminated a dog-eared photo on his cluttered desk. The 8-gauge 10, its edges curling like low-country vines, captured Elise Morgan, his wife of 15 years, radiant beside their children, Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, under a sprawling magnolia in Battery Park. Nathan, 38, dragged a weathered finger across Elise's smile, its glow dimmed like Charleston's gaslit lanterns after 4 deployments in 6 years. A Navy intelligence officer nicknamed Spectre, for unraveling covert threats with surgical precision, he'd hunted foes from Mogadishu to the South China Sea. But tonight, the enemy felt nearer, lurking in his antebellum home on Trad Street, where palmetto fronds veiled secrets darker than the Ashley River's depths. Elise's calls had dwindled to brittle exchanges. Once, her honeyed drawl sparked joy through garbled satellite lines. Now she raced through updates, citing PTA fundraisers, church suppers, or book clubs at the local library. Nathan's last shore leave, 9 months ago, had sown seeds of doubt that now choked his heart. He'd found a leather wallet in their 4-poster bedchamber, reeking of vetiver, not his scent. Elise brushed it off as a flea market trinket for a friend, her laugh too bright. A creased receipt from a Somerville diner, 25 miles north, bore a date she'd sworn she spent baking for Sophie's school. Charity luncheon, she'd claimed, but her eyes skittered like crabs on Folly Beach. Nathan's instincts, honed through years of interrogating double agents, screamed betrayal. "You're chasing specters, darlin'," she'd teased, her southern lilt mocking his call sign. But specters didn't leave wallets or lie about luncheons. Charleston's tight-knit Battery neighborhood buzzed with whispers about Elise. At the last church potluck, Mrs. Hargrove, the PTA president, had raised an eyebrow when Elise arrived in a new silk blouse, her charm dazzling the room. "She's been awfully cozy with that Kane fellow," Hargrove muttered to a neighbor, unaware Nathan overheard. Victor Kane, a financial advisor Elise mentioned helping with retirement portfolios, was a new fixture at school auctions and Sunday brunches. Nathan's gut twisted. Kane's name surfaced too often, his presence too polished for Charleston's cobblestone charm. Tonight, as Nathan prepped for a high-stakes op, tracking a cyber breach targeting Navy supply chains, he received a text from Elise. "Kids at mama.guess. Don't call. Signal's patchy." Her mother's Mount Pleasant townhouse boasted fiber-optic Wi-Fi. The lie stung like marsh nettles. Nathan's jaw clenched, his pulse hammering like a gavel. At 22:30, his CO, Commander Lauren Patel, barreled in, her boots echoing. "Spectre, we've pinned the breach to Russian servers. Briefing in 10. Nathan tucked the photo into his sea bag, but his mind wasn't on geopolitics. It was on Elise, her excuses piling like oyster shells on a low-country midden. Before his last deployment, Nathan had installed a clandestine security system, cameras discreetly embedded in the parlor, dining room, and driveway, synced to a fortified app. Elise hadn't a clue. He'd avoided checking it, fearing the truth would gut him. But her text, her brazen deceit, snapped his resolve like a palmetto frond in a hurricane. In the barracks' silence, he opened the app, fingers trembling. The dining room camera unveiled Elise, resplendent in a linen dress, pouring bourbon into crystal tumblers for a stranger. Tall, suave, in a tailored suit, he leaned close, their laughter slicing Nathan's soul. The timestamp glared, 22, 12 minutes ago. Nathan's training surged. Observe, record, analyze. He saved the clip, his heart pounding like artillery fire. The man's face was angular, his smirk rehearsed. Nathan zoomed in, noting a platinum cufflink glinting under the chandelier, a faint Eastern European lilt in his hushed tone. Victor Kane, Elise's supposed advisor. Nathan's specter senses flared. Kane's presence wasn't happenstance. Patel's briefing detailing Russian operatives infiltrating Navy families hit like a depth charge. Was Kane a lover, a spy, or both? Nathan texted his brother, Jack, a Charleston County deputy with a knack for digging. Run Victor Kane. Off books. Urgent. Jack shot back, on it. You holding up? Nathan didn't reply. He was a soldier, a father, a husband staring into an abyss. Charleston dozed under its moss-draped oaks, its historic streets whispering of old betrayals. But Nathan's war had sparked. Elise's lies, Kane's shadow, and a Russian cyber threat wove a noose around his family. He'd protect Sophie and Lucas, even if it meant torching his marriage. The specter was awake, and no deception would lie buried in Charleston's hallowed ground. The Charleston dawn broke over Naval Weapons Station Charleston, its rosy light mocking the storm in Captain Nathan Reynolds' heart. Holed up in his office, the 38-year-old Navy intelligence officer, known as Spectre for his ghost-like precision, hadn't slept. His laptop looped the dining room footage from last night. Elise Morgan, his wife of 15 years, pouring bourbon for Victor Kane, their laughter a dagger in Nathan's chest. The timestamp, 22.12, burned into his retina. Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, were at their grandmother's, oblivious to their mother's betrayal in their Trad Street home. Nathan's calloused fingers gripped a photo of his kids under Battery Park's magnolias, their smiles fueling his resolve. Elise's lies, vetiver-scented wallets, Somerville receipts, weren't just infidelity. His specter instincts, honed in Yemen and the Pacific, whispered a darker threat. Nathan replayed the clip, zooming on Kane's platinum cufflink, his Eastern European lilt. Financial advisor, Elise had called him, but Kane's polish screamed deception. Nathan's brother, Jack, a Charleston County deputy, texted back, Victor Kane's record is too clean. No priors, no taxes before 2022. Smells like a ghost. Nathan's pulse raced. Kane wasn't just a lover. He was a phantom, like the Russian operatives Commander Lauren Patel briefed about, targeting Navy families. Nathan opened his security app, diving into archived footage. The parlor camera caught Elise and Kane 3 nights ago, dancing to a slow jazz vinyl, her head on his chest. 2 weeks prior, the driveway camera showed Kane's black SUV at 2 a.m., Elise slipping inside. Nathan counted 42 visits in 4 months, often when Sophie and Lucas slept upstairs. His stomach churned. Betrayal wasn't the half of it. At 06 RU, Nathan hacked Elise's phone backups, a skill from counterintelligence ops. Her texts with Kane were locked behind encryption, but metadata showed late-night exchanges, deleted daily. One undeleted message slipped through. Meet me at the dock. Bring the drive. Nathan's blood ran cold. The Charleston waterfront, lined with shrimp boats and historic forts, was no place for innocent trysts. Was Elise passing Navy secrets? Nathan cross-referenced Kane's SUV plates through a classified database, a favor from Patel. The vehicle traced to a shell company in Wilmington, linked to Russian offshore accounts. Kane wasn't just cheating with Elise, he was playing her, and Nathan's family was collateral. Charleston's gossip mill churned. At Sophie's school, PTA moms whispered about Elise's glow, her new pearls, and Kane's charm at the spring gala. She's living her best life, one mom smirked, unaware Nathan overheard at a coffee shop. The betrayal cut deeper. Elise was flaunting her affair under Charleston's live oaks where neighbors once toasted their wedding. Nathan's heart splintered, but his specter training kicked in. He called Jack, Tail Kane. Discreet. I need his patterns. Jack, sensing Nathan's rage, agreed. Nathan then contacted Patel, requesting off-books access to Navy surveillance tools. This is personal, he admitted. Patel, a friend since Annapolis, nodded. Don't burn yourself out, Spectre. By noon, Nathan rigged a burner phone to mirror Elise's texts. A new message from Kane popped up. Tonight, 8 p.m., Ravenel Bridge. Wear the blue dress. Nathan's vision blurred with fury. Elise wasn't just cheating, she was entangled in something deadly. He drove to Trad Street, slipping into the house while Elise was at a PTA meeting. Sophie's soccer trophy and Lucas's model ships grounded him. But the parlor's jazz vinyl, Kane's touch, felt like a violation. Nathan planted a microphone under the dining table, syncing it to his app. If Elise and Kane were trading secrets, he'd catch them. The Navy base buzzed with tension. Patel's team traced the cyber breach to a Russian cell in Norfolk, possibly linked to Charleston. Nathan's worlds collided. His marriage, his kids, his country, all under siege. He pictured Sophie's shy grin, Lucas's bedtime stories, and vowed to shield them. Elise's laughter with Kane echoed in his skull, each chuckle a betrayal of their vows. Nathan wasn't just a cuckolded husband. He was a soldier facing an enemy in his home. Charleston's church bells tolled, but no prayer could save his marriage. The specter was hunting, and the truth would shatter everything under the Low Country's moss-draped sky. Midday sun glinted off Charleston's waterfront, where shrimp boats bobbed and tourists snapped photos of Fort Sumter. Captain Nathan Reynolds, 38, sat in an unmarked Navy van parked near the Ravenel Bridge, his burner phone pinging with Elise Morgan's mirrored texts. Last night's message from Victor Kane, 8 p.m., Ravenel, blue dress, loomed like a storm cloud. Nathan, the Navy intelligence officer dubbed Spectre, had spent the morning sifting through Kane's digital footprint, his Trad Street home's microphone silent so far. Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, were at school, unaware their mother's affair with Kane, a supposed financial advisor, was unraveling into a Russian espionage web. Nathan's chest ached, not just for Elise's betrayal, but for the danger now shadowing his kids. Using Navy surveillance tools, granted off books by Commander Lauren Patel, Nathan traced Kane's Wilmington Shell Company to a Cyprus bank account. A $150,000 transfer hit Elise's hidden savings account 3 months ago, timed with Nathan's deployment to the Persian Gulf. His breath hitched. His wife wasn't just cheating, she was paid, likely for Navy secrets. Nathan hacked deeper, finding encrypted files on Elise's cloud, labeled Project Palmetto. Attempts to crack them failed, but metadata linked to a Norfolk server Patel's team flagged as Russian. Kane wasn't a lone wolf. He was a cog in a machine targeting Navy officers' families, and Elise was his pawn. Nathan's brother Jack, a Charleston County deputy, reported Kane's movements. Daily stops at a King Street cafe, meetings with unidentified men at a Folly Beach motel, and late-night drives to the waterfront. Jack's photos showed Kane passing envelopes, his platinum cufflink glinting. Nathan cross-checked the motel's guest log through a Navy database, revealing aliases tied to Russian expats in Miami. The net was wider than he feared. Kane's operations spanned the Southeast, exploiting military wives like Elise, whose charm and PTA clout masked her duplicity. At 3 p.m., Nathan picked up Sophie and Lucas from school, their chatter a brief balm. Sophie, adjusting her soccer cleats, mentioned Kane offhand. He was at practice last week, talking to Mom about some flash drive, said it was for work. Nathan's blood froze. A flash drive matched the doc text. He probed gently, learning Kane often lingered at Sophie's games, asking about Nathan's deployments. Sophie, sharp but innocent, didn't suspect. Lucas, clutching a model ship, added, "He's got a weird accent like Grandpa's old war movies." Nathan forced a smile, hiding his dread. His kids were targets, their trust in Elise weaponized. Charleston's church ladies fueled the gossip. At a market, Nathan overheard Mrs. Hargrove, PTA president, cluck about Elise's new car fund and Kane's generosity. "She's got stars in her eyes," Hargrove sighed, oblivious to Nathan's clenched fists. The $150,000 wasn't for a car, it was blood money. Nathan tailed Elise to her PTA meeting, watching her laugh with moms, her blue dress a signal for Kane. The microphone finally caught audio, Elise and Kane in the parlor, whispering about clearing the drive before the next drop. Nathan's app recorded every word, his heart sinking as Elise's voice, once his anchor, betrayed him further. Patel called, urgent. "Norfolk cells active. They're targeting logistics data. Your guy's involved. Nathan shared the financial trail, earning Patel's grim nod. This is bigger than your marriage, Spectre. Nathan knew. He staked out the Ravenel Bridge at 8 p.m., watching Elise meet Kane. She handed over a flash drive. Kane slipped her an envelope. Nathan's camera clicked, capturing the exchange. His marriage was ashes, but his kids and country were at stake. Back home, Sophie's soccer ball lay in the yard. Lucas's ships lined their shelves. Nathan vowed to dismantle Kane's network, no matter the cost. Charleston's tides churned, carrying secrets to sea, but Nathan was closing in. Dusk settled over Charleston's historic district, the gas lamps on Trad Street casting a golden haze as Captain Nathan Reynolds parked his unmarked sedan 2 blocks from home. The 38-year-old Navy intelligence officer, Spectre to his unit, gripped the steering wheel, his knuckles white. Last night's Ravenel Bridge stakeout replayed in his mind. Elise Morgan, his wife of 15 years, handing Victor Kane a flash drive, her blue dress a traitor's flag, the $150,000 in her account, the encrypted Project Palmetto files, and Sophie S. innocent mention of Kane. S. flash drive at soccer practice confirmed a Russian espionage plot. Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, were home, unaware their mother's affair endangered them. Nathan I.'s heart pounded. He wasn't just fighting for his marriage, but for his kids, safety, and his country's secrets. Nathan slipped into the alley behind their antebellum home, avoiding the parlor's camera he'd installed. His burner phone held new audio from the dining room microphone. Elise and Kane, hours ago, planning another drop at Charleston's waterfront. Kane's voice, laced with an Eastern European chill, warned, "No mistakes, or they'll find you." Nathan's blood boiled. He texted Commander Lauren Patel. "Kane's escalating. Need a security detail for my kids." Patel replied, "On it. Base is on high alert. Norfolk cells moving." The Navy's logistics breach, tied to Kane's network, now threatened Charleston's port. Nathan had to act before Kane vanished, or Sophie and Lucas became leverage. Inside, the house smelled of Elise's jasmine perfume, a cruel reminder of their past. Nathan found Sophie in her room, earbuds in, scrolling on her phone. Lucas was in the den building a model ship. "Dad!" Lucas beamed, rushing for a hug. Nathan held him tight, whispering, "Stay close tonight, okay?" Sophie, sensing his tension, asked, "You're back early. Everything cool?" Nathan forced a nod, hiding the storm. He checked the microphone app. Kane was due at 7 p.m. Nathan stashed a sidearm in his jacket, a precaution from counterintelligence days. If Kane was armed, Nathan wouldn't hesitate. At 6:45, Elise descended the stairs, radiant in a silk blouse, oblivious to Nathan in the shadowed foyer. The doorbell chimed. Kane, his tailored coat masking a predator's edge. Nathan stepped forward, voice low. "Victor. Or should I say Dmitri?" Kane froze, his smirk fading. Elise gasped. "Nathan? You're supposed to be deployed." Nathan locked eyes with Kane. "I know about the flash drives, the money, the Russians." Elise stammered. "You're paranoid. Victor's helping with investments." Her lies crumbled as Nathan played the microphone audio, their drop plan echoing. Kane's hand twitched toward his coat. Nathan's grip tightened on his concealed weapon. "Don't," he warned. The confrontation spiraled. Elise, tears streaking, claimed Kane tricked her, promising wealth for consulting. "I didn't know about Russia," she sobbed. Kane sneered. "You knew enough." Nathan's rage flared. His wife, his home, defiled. Sophie peeked from the stairs, eyes wide. "Mom, what's happening?" Nathan barked. "Sophie, take Lucas upstairs, now." She obeyed, Lucas whimpering. Nathan texted Jack, his deputy brother. "Trad Street. Kane's here. Back up." Jack was 10 minutes out. Nathan kept Kane cornered, demanding, "Who's your handler?" Kane laughed, cold. "You're too late, Spectre." Charleston's church bells rang, drowned by sirens as Patel's security team arrived. Kane lunged for the door. Nathan tackled him, pinning him until Jack's squad burst in. Elise collapsed, sobbing, as MPs secured her for questioning. Nathan hugged Sophie and Lucas, shielding their confusion. "It's okay," he lied, his voice breaking. Patel called. "Kane's network's bigger than we thought. We're locking down the base." Nathan led his kids to a safe house, their Trad Street home now a crime scene. Elise's betrayal and Kane's menace lingered, but Nathan's fight was far from over. Sophie's hand in his, Lucas's ship tucked under his arm, he faced the night, a soldier with everything to lose. Morning light filtered through the blinds of a Charleston safe house, where Captain Nathan Reynolds, 38, sat at a folding table sifting through FBI case files. The Navy intelligence officer, Spectre, had relocated Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, here after the Trad Street showdown 3 days ago, when he'd tackled Victor Kane and military police detained Elise Morgan, his wife of 15 years. Kane, unmasked as Russian operative Dmitry Volkov, was in federal custody, his flash drives and $150,000 payments to Elise tying her to espionage. Nathan's evidence, microphone audio, Ravenel Bridge photos, had cracked the case, but the cost was his family. Sophie Wee's quiet stares and Lucas Wee's clingy hugs gnawed at him as he faced a federal trial looming over Charleston Wee's courthouse. FBI agent Carla Nguyen met Nathan at 9 a.m., her briefcase stuffed with decrypted Project Palmetto files. "Volkov's network hit Navy logistics across 3 states, she said. Your wife's role was small but deliberate. Elise had copied Nathan's classified schedules, passing them via flash drives for cash." Nathan's jaw tightened. Betrayal now had a paper trail. Nguyen needed his testimony to nail Volkov's Miami and Norfolk cells, but Elise's lawyer, a sharp Charleston defense attorney named Gregory Holt, was circling. Holt had filed motions claiming Elise was coerced, painting Nathan as a paranoid spy who entrapped her. "He's pushing for a plea," Nguyen warned. "She might walk." Nathan's brother Jack, a Charleston County deputy, dropped by with coffee and news. Low country gossip was ablaze. Church ladies and PTA moms, once charmed by Elise's smile, now whispered of that Navy wife caught in a spy ring. At Sophie's school, kids taunted her about mommy's jail time. Sophie, defiant, punched a bully, earning a suspension. Lucas, meanwhile, asked Nathan, "Is Mom a bad guy?" Nathan fumbled. "She made mistakes," his voice hollow. He enrolled them in counseling, but their pain fueled his resolve. Commander Lauren Patel called, her tone clipped. "Navy's watching you, Spectre. Don't let Holt twist this. A misstep could end Nathan's career." Holt ambushed Nathan at a pretrial meeting downtown. "Your surveillance was illegal," he sneered, waving a motion to suppress the microphone audio. Elise was a victim of Volkov's charm. Nathan's fists clenched. He'd heard Elise's voice on those recordings, plotting drops. Nguyen countered, citing Nathan's Navy clearance, but Holt's tactics shook him. Elise, in a holding cell, sent a letter through Holt. "I'm sorry, Nathan. I did it for us." Her words stung like salt in a wound. Was she lying again, or had Kane's promises blinded her? Nathan tore the letter, focusing on Sophie and Lucas's safety. Charleston's courthouse loomed, its columns stark against the palmettos. Nathan met Nguyen to review testimony, detailing Kane's Cyprus accounts and Elise's encrypted files. A new wrinkle emerged. Volkov's handler, still at large, had ties to a D.C. lobbyist. The FBI needed Nathan's counterintelligence skills to trace them, but Patel set a deadline. "Wrap this before your next deployment." Nathan nodded, though Sophie's suspension and Lucas's nightmares weighed heavier than Navy orders. At the safe house, Sophie asked, "Will Mom go to prison?" Nathan hugged her. "I'll fix this," knowing he couldn't. Lucas clutched his model ship, silent. The city's church bells echoed as Nathan drove to Sophie's school, facing the principal's pitying look. PTA whispers followed. Elise fooled us all. Nathan's testimony loomed, a tightrope between justice and family. Volkov's network was crumbling, but Elise's fate, and his kid's future, hung in the balance. Nathan steeled himself, Spectre mode on, ready to face Holt's traps and the Navy's glare. For Sophie and Lucas, he'd fight. Even if Charleston's gossips and courthouse shadows judged him, the case was his war now and retreat wasn't an option. The Charleston courthouse stood resolute under a gray noon sky, its palmetto-lined steps swarmed by reporters, as Captain Nathan Reynolds, 38, navigated the crowd. Inside, the Navy intelligence officer, Spector, braced for the federal trial's climax, 1 week after his safe-house prep with FBI agent Carla Nguyen. Victor Kane, aka Dmitry Volkov, and Elise Morgan, Nathan's wife of 15 years, faced espionage charges tied to Russian breaches of Navy logistics. Nathan's evidence, microphone audio, Ravenel Bridge photos, and decrypted Project Palmetto files, had exposed their crimes, but Sophie, 14, and Lucas, 10, waited in a nearby anteroom, their futures hinging on today's verdict. Nathan's chest tightened. Justice was near, but his kid's scars ran deep. The courtroom buzzed as Judge Eleanor Whitaker called order. Volkov, shackled, glared from the defense table, his platinum cufflinks replaced by cuffs. Elise, pale in a gray suit, avoided Nathan's gaze. Her lawyer, Gregory Holt, had pushed a coercion plea, but Nathan's testimony, detailing Elise's $150,000 payments and flash drive drops, swayed the jury. Nguyen presented Volkov's Cyprus accounts and Miami-Norfolk links, sealing his fate. Volkov, unrepentant, took the stand, claiming diplomatic immunity through a Russian consulate contact. Holt leaped, demanding a mistrial, but Whitaker shut it down. Overruled. Evidence stands. Nathan exhaled, his Spector instincts validated. Elise's testimony shattered the room. Sobbing, she admitted copying Nathan's schedules, lured by Kane's promises of a better life. "I thought it was just business," she choked, glancing at Nathan. "I never meant to hurt Sophie or Lucas." Her words pierced him, love, betrayal, and regret tangled in her low-country drawl. The jury, stone-faced, deliberated for hours. Nathan waited with Sophie and Lucas, explaining, "This decides what happens to Mom." Sophie, bitter, muttered, "She chose that guy." Lucas, clutching his model ship, whispered, "Will she come home?" Nathan hugged them. No answers left. At 4 p.m. the verdict landed. Volkov, guilty on all counts, faced 25 years in federal prison, his handler's D.C. trail now an FBI priority. Elise, guilty of lesser charges, received 7 years, eligible for parole in 4. Holt's final objection, citing Nathan's unauthorized surveillance, fizzled under Whitaker's gavel. Elise collapsed, her sobs echoing as bailiffs led her away. Nathan met her eyes one last time, seeing the woman he'd loved under Battery Park's magnolias, now a stranger. Outside, reporters shouted, "Captain, will you forgive her?" Nathan shielded Sophie and Lucas, silent. Charleston's gossip churned. Church suppers and PTA meetings dissected Elise's fall, some pitying her, others scorning that spy wife. Nathan's brother, Jack, a Charleston County deputy, fielded calls from neighbors offering casseroles and prayers. At Sophie's school, counselors helped her process the bullying, while Lucas drew ships in therapy, slowly opening up. Commander Lauren Patel visited, her tone softer. "You did right, Spector. Navy's got your back." But Nathan's career hung by a thread. A Pentagon review loomed for his off-book surveillance. He focused on his kids, moving them to a Mount Pleasant rental, away from Trad Street's ghosts. Evening fell over the low country, its marshes glowing under a crescent moon. Nathan took Sophie and Lucas to Folly Beach, their first outing since the trial. Sophie kicked sand, asking, "Can we still be normal?" Lucas added, "Without Mom?" Nathan knelt. "We'll build our own normal." Their laughter, tentative, mixed with waves. Charleston's church bells faded, replaced by the ocean's hum. Nathan wasn't Spector here, just a father, piecing together a family from betrayal's wreckage. The verdict closed one war, but his fight for Sophie and Lucas was just beginning, under the vast, unjudging sky. Early evening painted Mount Pleasant's suburban streets in amber, the low country's marsh breeze carrying the scent of salt and pine as Captain Nathan Reynolds, 39, sat on his rental home's porch. A year had passed since the Charleston trial that jailed Victor Kane, Dmitry Volkov for 25 years, and Elise Morgan, Nathan's ex-wife, for 7 for espionage. The Navy intelligence officer, Spector, had carved a brittle new life for Sophie, now 15, and Lucas, now 11, in this quiet neighborhood, far from Trad Street's haunted memories. Their Folly Beach promise of a new normal held, but fresh storms loomed. A Pentagon career review, Sophie's spiraling defiance and Lucas's silent wounds. Nathan's calloused hands gripped a coffee mug, his specter vigilance now guarding his children's fragile futures. The Pentagon's probe into Nathan's unauthorized surveillance had hit hard. Commander Lauren Patel, his staunch ally, argued his case, but the Navy demoted him to a logistics desk at Naval Weapons Station Charleston, stripping his top-secret clearance. "You kept your pension, Spectre. That's a win," Patel said, her eyes sympathetic but firm. Nathan absorbed the setback, redirecting his energy to Sophie and Lucas. Sophie, once a vibrant soccer captain, had abandoned sports, her teenage rebellion ignited by Elise's imprisonment. She skipped classes, hung with a rough crowd, and faced near expulsion after a school fight. Nathan confronted her after finding a vape in her backpack. "You're throwing your future away," Sophie snapped back, "like you threw Mom in jail?" Her words stung, unearthing Nathan's guilt over Elise's fate. Lucas, more reserved, hid his pain in model ships and history books. At school, he dodged classmates' whispers about the traitor mom, retreating into solitude. Nathan found him one night, tears staining an old photo of Elise at a Charleston festival. "I don't want to forget her, Dad," Lucas whispered. Nathan hugged him. "You don't have to," his own regrets surfacing. Had his long deployments pushed Elise toward Cain's web? Therapy sessions helped Lucas articulate his fears, and a sailing club at Charleston Harbor became his refuge. He bonded with a coach, a retired Navy vet, whose stories of resilience gave Lucas a spark. Jack, Nathan's deputy brother, swung by with pizza and blunt advice. "Keep fighting, Spectre. Those kids need you." Charleston's community offered both warmth and judgment. Church suppers organized by Mrs. Hargrove brought casseroles and prayers, with some congregants embracing Sophie and Lucas as brave kids. But PTA meetings buzzed with gossip. "Nathan's too strict. No wonder Sophie's wild." A few parents shunned Sophie, citing her fights, while others invited Lucas to barbecues, praising his quiet charm. Nathan found solace in a veteran support group, where he shared his saga of betrayal and duty under the Lowcountry's live oaks. A neighbor, Sarah, a kind-eyed history teacher, tutored Sophie, her patience softening Sophie's edges. Sarah's offer to join them for a church picnic stirred Nathan's heart, but he hesitated, wary of replacing Elise. Sophie, smirking, nudged, "She's cool, Dad. Live a little." The drama peaked when Sophie snuck out to a downtown Charleston party, her phone unreachable. Nathan, heart racing, scoured Broad Street with Jack, finding her slumped on a curb, eyes glassy from cheap liquor. "I hate this life," she cried, mascara streaking. Nathan grounded her, but her accusation, "You ruined us," echoed Elise's prison letter delivered that week. "Nathan, I'm changing. Let the kids see me." The letter, laced with manipulation, rekindled Nathan's distrust. He arranged another prison visit, hoping for closure. Elise, gaunt, pleaded for forgiveness, but Sophie scoffed. "You chose money over us." Lucas, torn, held Elise's hand, whispering, "I miss you." Nathan watched, torn between justice and his kids' longing. Fall brought Nathan's Navy board hearing to restore his rank. Patel prepped him. "Show remorse, Spectre." He faced the panel, owning his surveillance while defending his motives. Sophie joined a school drama club, her monologues a raw outlet, while Lucas earned a sailing trophy, his shy pride a milestone. Charleston's marshes glowed beyond their home, timeless and forgiving. Nathan stood on his porch, watching Sophie rehearse lines and Lucas polish his trophy. The Lowcountry had forged them in fire, but they endured. Nathan, no longer just Spectre, was their cornerstone, building a new chapter from betrayal's ashes step by steady step. A crisp Charleston morning bathed Mount Pleasant in autumn light, the palmetto trees swaying as Captain Nathan Reynolds, now 40, jogged along the marsh-lined trails. 2 years had passed since the trial that imprisoned Victor Cain, Dmitry Volkov, for 25 years, and Elise Morgan, Nathan's ex-wife, for 7 for espionage. The Navy intelligence officer, Spectre, had steadied life for Sophie, now 16, and Lucas, now 12, in their Mount Pleasant rental after a turbulent year of Pentagon sanctions and teenage struggles. The porch promises of resilience, forged amid low-country cicadas, held firm, but new challenges tested their growth. Sophie's reckless romance, Lucas's schoolyard battles, and Nathan's search for purpose beyond the Navy's desk. Nathan's breath steadied, his Spectre instincts now guiding a family finding its footing. Nathan's Navy career, battered by a demotion for unauthorized surveillance, had stabilized at a logistics desk, but a private security firm in Savannah offered a lucrative analyst role. Commander Lauren Patel, his mentor, cautioned, "It's a leap, Spectre. The Navy's your home." The job promised financial security for Sophie and Lucas's college funds, but required relocating, uprooting their fragile roots. Nathan wrestled with the choice, haunted by his deployment's toll on Elise's betrayal. He confided in Jack, his deputy brother. "I need to be here for them, not chasing dollars." Jack shrugged. "You're more than a uniform, Nate." The words lingered, urging Nathan to redefine Spectre. Sophie, now a junior, had channeled her rebellion into drama club, her performances earning local praise. But her new boyfriend, Dylan, a 19-year-old dropout with a motorcycle, alarmed Nathan. Sophie snuck out for late rides, ignoring curfews. When Nathan caught her climbing through her window at 2 a.m., he grounded her. "He's trouble, Sophie," she fired back. "You don't trust me." Her defiance echoed Elise's charm, stirring Nathan's fears of history repeating. Therapy had softened Sophie's anger, but Dylan's influence tested her. At a church fair, Sarah, the history teacher tutoring Sophie, warned Nathan, "She's seeking freedom, not love." Nathan nodded, torn between control and letting Sophie grow. Lucas, now in middle school, had blossomed in the sailing club, his trophy shelf gleaming. Yet, bullying over the spy mom persisted. A classmate, jealous of Lucas's sailing wins, shoved him in the cafeteria taunting, "Your mom's a traitor." Lucas, once timid, fought back, earning a suspension. Nathan, called to the principal's office, saw Lucas's bruised pride. "I'm not weak, Dad." Nathan hugged him. "You're stronger than you know," enrolling him in a martial arts class to channel his fire. Lucas's therapy sessions revealed a growing confidence, his sketches of Charleston's harbor now bold and vivid. Jack, ever the uncle, tossed Lucas a baseball. "You're a fighter, kid." Charleston's community remained a double-edged sword. Church events led by Mrs. Hargrove rallied around Sophie's theater debut, with congregants cheering her monologue. But PTA gossips, still stung by Elise's scandal, whispered, "Sophie's headed for trouble like her mom." Nathan ignored them, coaching Lucas's sailing team and joining Sarah at community fairs, her steady presence a quiet comfort. Sarah's suggestion to mentor at-risk teens intrigued Nathan, aligning with his counterintelligence past. "You'd be good at it," she said, her smile disarming. Nathan hesitated. New purpose felt like abandoning Spectre. But Sophie teased, "You're allowed to be happy, Dad." Drama erupted when Sophie vanished with Dylan for a weekend, her phone off. Nathan, panicked, tracked her to a Myrtle Beach motel with Jack's police contacts, finding her shaken but unharmed. "I thought he cared," she sobbed, Dylan's betrayal mirroring Elise's. Nathan held her. "You're enough." He banned Dylan, enrolling Sophie in a leadership camp to rebuild her focus. Lucas, meanwhile, faced his bully in a school mediation, his calm resolve diffusing the feud. Fall deepened, and Nathan accepted a part-time mentoring role, balancing Navy duties. The marshes stretched beyond their home, whispering endurance. Nathan watched Sophie rehearse and Lucas sail, their independence blooming. No longer just Spectre, he was their guide, crafting a future from low-country roots, one choice at a time.